You know, you guys, if you're watching this video, you probably don't need me to tell you this, but it feels safe to say that it's been a wild last 12 months for none other than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because, well, from the mass amount of unexpected success you saw as a team throughout the entirety of last season, to the unfortunate injuries that eventually derailed your season sooner than you had hoped, and then of course rebounding from that in the craziest way possible by shocking the league with your blockbuster acquisition in Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, to keep a long story short, it's been a hell of a year for Cleveland basketball, and we'll just leave it at that for now. Nonetheless though, while most people are starting to quickly take notice as to how much of a threat these guys could be to the rest of the NBA, they're still not seeming to realize what specific factor puts this Cleveland team over the top. And from what they've showed us, they've already shut up a ton of their critics in the process, so let's get into it. One sec though guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video. But before we go any further, today's video is brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. Believe me you guys, I've had SeatGeek myself for years now, and it is hands down the easiest way to buy any type of tickets online. Whether you're looking for basketball, football, concerts, even festivals, SeatGeek has you covered with tickets for almost any event you could possibly think of. The best part about it is with their amazing rating scale of 1 to 10 on any and all available seats for your event, they're doing everything they can to make sure you get the best deal possible. And with SeatGeek having your back, they're also willing to hook you guys up even further with an extra $20 off your first purchase when you use our code HOOPS20 at checkout. Once again, that is code HOOPS20, so make sure to go down to the link in our bio to download the SeatGeek app today. Now, to get back on topic with the Cleveland Cavaliers, when the Donovan Mitchell trade was originally announced, it was no secret that at least on paper, this was looking like the perfect situation for this Cavs team. Because not only does he feel like the missing piece in this very young Cleveland rotation that is already full of recurring and borderline all-stars, but also with Donovan Mitchell being the high-volume scorer that he is, he adds a new ridiculous level of offensive production the Cavs had been searching for most of last year. Because Cavs fans, you probably know this better than anyone, but aside from Darius Garland being the top scorer on most nights, it was pretty much a blind guess as to who the second star would be on a night-to-night basis. But regardless of what you were expecting from Donovan Mitchell this year, whether you anticipated him to thrive in this Cleveland Cavaliers offense or not, if you're gonna sit here and tell me that you fully expected to see Donovan Mitchell put up undeniably the best numbers we've seen from him in his entire career, not even over the course of an entire season, but over the course of the first 2 months in a completely new situation, while I will not call you a liar if you did predict this, to the surprise I'm sure of some, that is exactly what we are seeing out of him. But also with these numbers that he is putting up, and I'm sure most of you know this, but over the course of Donovan Mitchell's career, while he has continually put up averages along these lines throughout the years, he has also received the taglines of being a quote-unquote shot chucker with low efficiency. And I mean, sure, maybe you could make a small case for this over some of the years he spent in Utah, but believe me you guys, this year, that literally could not be further from the truth. In fact, while averaging the highest points per game of his career so far, he's also averaging the highest field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and even free throw percentage that we have ever seen from him. But what might actually be the best part about this is that while yes, clearly the Cleveland Cavalier offense is working absolute wonders for the play of Donovan Mitchell, but on the other side of things, it seems as if his presence has done nothing but improve the play in almost all of his teammates in ways that I don't think some people expected to see, at least this early in the year. And if we're gonna go anywhere else on this offense to start this conversation, we undoubtedly need to begin with the man himself in Darius Garland. Because, well, I'm pretty confident that I'm not the only person that saw some raising cause for concerns as to how two very ball-dominant guards like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell would fare sharing a backcourt together, and if this was going to one day work, how long would it actually take them to get there? And well, I'll just say for any of you out there that thought even for a second or in the slightest that Donovan Mitchell was going to somehow throw a wrench into the continued development of Darius Garland, once again, and it's pretty clear as day through the play that that could not have been further from the truth. Because it's not just the fact that he's putting up relatively the same game averages so far this season compared to last, when he was the #1 scoring option and ball handler for this Cavs team, but he is also doing this on some of the highest efficiency rates we've seen from him in his entire career, again right alongside Donovan Mitchell in this regard. And what might just be the craziest part about all of this is that with most people expecting one of these two to end up sacrificing how involved they actually were in the offense on a game-to-game basis, both of their ever so slightly adjusted usage rates this season, again along with the numbers they're putting up so far, would imply to you that neither one of them have missed a beat. And yes, I am also well aware that with the numbers I'm showing, it's probably also creating an impression for you that if the Cavs backcourt doesn't step up on any given night, they're more than likely going to be struggling as a team. But believe it or not, you guys, yes, there is actually more to this team than just these two. Because as if it wasn't already enough of a nightmare to have to worry about these two on the perimeter, there's also the idea you have to keep in the back of your head about them running through the dangerous pick and roll threats of both Jarett Allen and Evan Mobley in the front court, which, if you take a look at the numbers and watch any Cleveland Cavalier game this year, you would know that they're getting their money's worth on this. But then there's also the very underrated aspect of this team in the fact that they are so loaded with guys on the perimeter that can not just score from out there, but can create their own offense as well. And I already know that some of you watching will more than likely not consider these guys top tier deep threats just when you hear their name, but when the Cavs have guys like Caris Levert, Kevin Love, Dean Wade, and even Cedi Osman, just to name a few, outside of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, who are definitely holding their own from behind the line so far this year, just trust me on this, the Cavs have much more threats to score than you probably originally thought. And I mean, if you're personally still not convinced that this Cavs offense has drastically improved this season compared to last, while most of the points that we've made so far, along with their radically spiked offensive rating this year, should probably be more than enough to tell you this, I don't think anything can show you how confident the Cavs are in their own offensive formula more than the simple statistic of pace of play. Because, well, when you do take a look at this very young Cleveland Cavalier roster from top to bottom, you would be able to assume that they can run a fast break pretty effectively. And don't get me wrong, because they definitely do when the opportunity presents itself, but the fact that the Cavs are willingly playing right now at the literal slowest pace out of any team in the NBA, which in turn is simply them trying to force the hand of all of their opponents to try and stop their very impressive half-court offense. Yeah, so if you're still not confident in their offense, I don't think it matters too much because we definitely know that they are. But also, if there was one specific aspect about this team that stood above all other subjects that people were wondering how Cleveland would fare going into this season, it was the idea of adding Donovan Mitchell, a man who has been critiqued for his defensive efforts more than anything in his career so far, to a defensive-minded team like the Cavaliers. And sure, while if you absolutely had to point to a specific area of this team where defense somewhat lacks compared to everywhere else, I guess you could say the backcourt. And I mean, you guys, with the front court monsters of Evan Mobley and Jarett Allen contributing to one of the best defensive ratings not just this season, but ones that we've seen in the last couple of years of the league. While yes, I know it is still early in the season, with this Cavs offense firing on literally all cylinders right now and only seeming to get better as the weeks go on, and with their defense playing at a level that we've never seen them, I'll just say that this is looking like a team that absolutely nobody is going to want to match up with as the playoffs approach. But, of course, we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, you guys, with everything that we've mentioned so far regarding the Cleveland Cavaliers, I am also extremely curious to hear what you have to think about their situation. So please be sure to let me know in the comments what has been the most surprising part to you about how the Cavs have played so far this year, and also what is the farthest you could potentially see this team making it this season. But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, and of course, subscribe while you're down there to never miss another NBA video. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.